Congresswoman, it's great to see you.
Nice to see you.
Thanks for
for
your
having me.
time today. You
My
guys
pleasure.
just came from the floor and voted on something called the SCORE Act, and I was kind of reading about it because I didn't know all the particulars. What can you tell us about that bit of business?
Yeah, we're trying to do a framework for name, image, and likeness out of fairness to the university students who are, it's kind of the wild, wild west right now in terms of the NIL deals and everything that's going on and the competitive nature. We do think there probably needs to be a framework. That's what we're trying to get across the floor.
Yeah, and I heard it was kind of close, maybe.
Yeah, so the rule vote, it was a rule. And if the rule doesn't pass, then the bill can't proceed to the House for a vote.
Okay.
We can bring bills to the floor in a number of ways. One is on suspension, which means we suspend the rules. It has to get 2/3 majority to pass. But if we bring it to the floor under a rule, it can pass with a simple majority, but the rule itself has to pass first.
Okay.
And so today was the rule vote, and I left the chamber, and the vote was still open.
Wow.
So
All right. So, what? I guess we'll wait to see how that ends up shaking out.
yeah,
We don't know yet.
there are some concerns that have been raised about free markets
Yeah.
and whether this is the role of the federal government to weigh in on this issue. I think there's an interstate commerce argument plus higher education argument to be made that the federal government does maybe have a role to play here.
Federal dollars going to colleges, of course.
That's right,
That's
yes.
probably one of the considerations.
For sure.
Yeah.
So we'll see if it passes. If it doesn't, we could go back to the rules committee, which I serve on, and try to formulate a new path forward.
I've been asking your colleagues all day long about, midterms. I know you guys are always kind of thinking about the next election, particularly in the House. It's every couple of years. What is your sense of things right now? It's always kind of this understood given that the party that's in total control and then has the White House loses in the midterms of the following year. Do you accept that? Do you think that dynamic could change next year?
I am optimistic about the midterms. I think that we will see a lot of patriotism going into the next year for the 250th anniversary of the country. And I also think that we have a lot of wins that we have sort of chalked up on our side of the ledger that we can point to for American families. We are constantly working toward improving affordability. Let's not forget that the healthcare crisis that we have was created by the Democrats and by the passage of Obamacare. So we've been saying, look, we're going to formulate a path forward that is healthcare affordability. If you like your Obamacare, you can keep it. But we're going to move forward with a plan that has puts patients and doctors and does not get in between their relationship, includes competition, and really puts the American family first in terms of cost and healthcare affordability.
Do you think this affordability issue, which has now become the word, and I can almost watching the news every day and doing commentary on the news every day, it's like almost out of nowhere this word became the buzzword. And not that people aren't aware of what things cost. I don't mean that. I just mean it seems that all of a sudden the focus on somehow things are getting worse when I just know literally on paper that's not true, but we're kind of being pushed that maybe the sentiment is things are not great and getting worse. I don't. Do you sense that?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit organic because when I did go home over the break, there are concerns that are being raised by constituents on housing affordability and
Is it getting worse?
I think it's getting better.
I do
just
too.
don't think it's getting better fast enough
Yes.
for their liking.
Yes.
So I do think it's getting better. If you look at inflation rates versus the first Trump administration, then skyrocketing under Obama or under President Biden, and now it's back down to I think 2.5% and trending in the right direction. But families just really aren't feeling it yet, particularly in the housing market. I would hope that Jerome Powell would reduce interest rates so that we could eventually start to free up this frozen housing market. But when you inject 20 million people into this country, that is going to cause a housing problem. It's going to cause a supply chain problem. It's going to cause work employment problems
Yes.
and wage problems. It's going to drive down wages and it's going to drive up housing costs. And we are going to suffer from that until we can finally turn the page on not only Biden's economy, but Biden's disastrous immigration policies.
I was told about something you're working on specifically called Parents Over Platforms. I was intrigued by that. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so Jake Auchincloss, he's a Democrat. We're working on this together, and we're a lot of kids' online safety legislation. We know that the state of affairs today and risks to kids is more than the playground and more than the neighborhood. It's the whole entire globe with the access to the internet and these social media platforms. We think strongly that no child under 16 should have access to some of these apps. And so we have these parents over platforms to put parents back in charge. I have a personal experience with my own daughter who, when she was 13, she got access to Instagram without our knowledge or consent.
Wow.
She hacked around our parental controls and was on her phone.
Kids find a way.
They find a way.
Yeah.
Parents are overwhelmed with the amount of apps that are out there and the number of different iterations of parental protections and parental controls. So we're trying to streamline that at the federal level, make sure that 16 is the standard, not under 16. Just like you can't drive a car before you're 16, you can't have social media before you're 16. It's just too dangerous a platform. We know that it's dangerous for kids under that age. We've seen it. We don't have to see more research. So we're just putting a line in the sand there and hoping that this will get past this legislative session.
Let's say you're working with a Democrat. Does that mean there's strong bipartisan support? Do you have a sense of it?
I would say that there is bipartisan support for sure. I think that there are some Democrats who still think that a 13-year-old should be able to have access to these social media platforms without any parental knowledge or consent. There are still Democrats that feel that way, that don't want us they want us to take care of children's privacy, but they're less concerned about sexual exploitation or sexual content that a child might access. This is going to be the issue of our time. A colleague today, a friend of mine in energy and commerce, said that Facebook is the new Philip Morris. And it really is a danger to our kids, these social media applications. We've got loads of data to prove it. When the Kids Online Privacy Protection Act was first passed in 1996, at the time, policymakers thought that 13-year-olds might need access to the internet for homework.
Yeah.
We are well beyond that today, and we know what we need to do. We just have to have the courage to get this done.
Boy, we're going to pay close attention to that. I hope you'll come back as that hopefully progresses through Congress. But in the meantime, just in closing, 2026, I know we've still got lots of time before that midterm election, but what would you say to Americans right now as we get into Christmas? What's your pitch, the Republicans, the GOP here in the House? Where things stand and where you're going, why they should continue to support your efforts.
Well, House and Senate Republicans, along with the leadership of President Trump, we are just getting started. We've already put in the largest tax increase or tax reduction in history. We prevented the largest tax increase in history from going into effect with the Working Families Tax Cuts Act. We've got record numbers of deportations. Crime is going down. Prices are going down. We are all trending in the right direction. Let us keep doing our jobs. Let us keep working for the American people and really get this America First policy platform in effect.
By the way, are we going to get an extra seat in Indiana or no?
We might get 2.
Maybe 2? You think that's going to happen?
It may. It's up to the General Assembly whether or not they want to do this. Indiana is a very Republican state. 90% of our local elected officials in Indiana are Republican. So if Indiana were to draw a 9-0 map, I think it would certainly be in line with the value set of the majority of Hoosiers.
That'll be interesting to watch. Congresswoman, great to meet you. Hope you'll
Nice
come
to
back.
meet you too. Thank you so much.